Welcome to Rewrite Reality with Jillian Greyse, the podcast leading the global shift in transformation through frequency, quantum healing, and energetic mastery. I'm your host, Jillian Greyse, architect of energetic alignment, and for 20 years, I've been a pioneer of integrating self-transformation for thousands of souls. Each week, we answer the questions that keep you stuck and deliver high-frequency tools to heal and evolve every layer of your being. Join me to elevate your vibration, rewrite your reality, and activate the life your soul remembers. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Rewrite Reality with Jillian Greyse. On this episode, we are going to explore an extremely powerful topic that many of you submitted questions in regards to. And that topic is, why do I keep sabotaging my own joy? We're going to begin right away with a very powerful question from Lila in Bell Harbor, Maine. And this question is, I feel guilty when I'm happy, like something bad is about to happen. Is that trauma or intuition? This happens a lot to many people. That feeling of guilt after you're in a really positive situation, or you start to feel really positively about something in your life, or you feel joy. And the reason for that is actually a learned cultural behavior. It has nothing to do with your intuition. And you can call it trauma if you want. That word can be really triggering for people and make them shut down and not want to do the deep work. So I tend to try to avoid that word trauma as much as possible. But that deep feeling of fear or that guilt that comes up when happiness is there, it has a lot to do with our cultural pattern of conditionings. If you think about any institution that has their hands on you when you're younger, whether it's your church, whether it's your school, whether it's your parents, when you are experiencing the most highest level of joys, they have a tendency to sneak in there and try to prevent you from it in some way. Think about at school, you're laughing and it's not when you're supposed to be laughing. You get yelled at. When you're at church and you're behaving in a certain way and you're a child and you're so filled with joy, you're not thinking about the rules and the constraints. You get reprimanded. When you think about it in your own home, if you're too loud or if you are enjoying something too much, so therefore maybe you're vocal or you're noisy, you're told to be quiet. So a lot of that feeling of guilt when you are happy has to do with social conditioning. And this is why I go up against social conditioning in so many different ways. There is not an institution out there that is out for your own positive effects and also tells you to feel bad about being happy. If there is, that is a huge red flag, because happiness is at the core of everything. From what we're learning from even an epigenetic standpoint, happiness upregulates your immune system. It helps to keep you healthy and alive. Joy, experiencing that feeling, that rush, that positive energy. Joy is the highest frequency. And those of you who are tuned in understand how much we are centered on that vibrational frequency. It makes you the architect of your world. It makes you an attraction to the different things that are also on that level that you're trying to bring towards you. So when you're working through the trauma or you're working through the past memories of feeling guilty around happiness, I want you to have a very strong awareness that what you're really doing is healing a lot of cultural themes that are based in how you are controlled. It's easier to control someone if they break them from that moral compass of joy. It's easier to break down your free will and make it more simple for someone to control if your joy is taken away, if your happiness is being controlled. So I want you to kind of think about that. That's a very deep thought, very deep topic. And I really want to make sure that everyone who is listening to this understands that power, that happiness really can bring within you, and just how pivotal it is as you're moving into that realization of being your own creator and that realization of taking your own responsibility of your life and starting to manage your energy in a way that strengthens it. So happiness is a very positive thing. I don't care when you're experiencing it. You need to let it flow through you, and that alone is going to heal you and make you a magnet to the things that you desire. Okay, question 2 comes from Evan from Galena, Illinois. That question is, why do I downplay good news when I share it with the people I love? There is a multitude of different responses that can help you clarify and understand why your vibration, when you're experiencing this good news that gives you this flood of positive emotions about yourself, and why when you share it with those you love, you downplay it. One is there's guilt. A lot of guilt around the people in our lives that maybe aren't experiencing the same type of energy or positive frequency at any given time. And guilt of wanting to almost hold yourself back because that's where others that you love reside is very common, especially in family structures, even social structures. People, as much as they want to promote you being in a positive place, if you eclipse where they are, or if you move ahead of where they are, you're going to find a lot of people in your life are actually angry at you, or they're actually wishing you negative secretly. They're wishing you negative things. They're hoping that you don't go that far. You can be successful, but don't be too successful. That's a very common thing in social groups because there's ego involved. So when ego is involved, and ego is this animalistic trait within your energy that keeps you alive, but ego also gives you this negative viewpoint of yourself, of how you measure up, and it's constantly pushing you. It has a lot of positive parts of your survival and a lot of positive meaning in your life, but when ego begins to be how you function, you're going to find jealousy and you're going to find that feeling of not being good enough almost eclipsing the things in your life that you should be happy about or you should be proud for other people. And I want to circle back to the importance of this. When you don't feel positive for someone else who's going through a positive experience and you let that jealousy get in the way, you're then creating from a frequency of jealousy, which is a very low vibration. So that means that the things in your life that you are trying to bring forth and that you're trying to manifest and that you're trying to gain success with are actually going to be hindered by the fact that you're wishing someone negative. You're wishing someone was not at the positive place that they were in. And I see this so often in family structures. I have definitely worked with many people that have gone through this, especially with siblings. A lot of times you'll have siblings that hold on to that old dynamic. So you'll see siblings do this so often where they will feel like because you picked on me when I was younger, you're constantly out to get me, or they feel inferior. And what they don't understand is that inferiority was their own lesson. They chose that birth order. They chose that experience for whatever they were designed to overcome. But because they get so caught up in the trauma of it or in the victim narrative, they never truly get to the ability that they can because they're too busy focusing on harboring those old hurts. And when you have a system within a family structure where you're supposed to all kind of stick together and uplift one another, if somebody reaches a higher level in that, they almost feel like they either have to dumb it down for the people around them or they don't want to say anything because they don't want their negativity to get in the way. And that says so much about what we learn in families and what we learn is supposed to be the meaning of love. Love supports you. It doesn't matter in a loving relationship if someone has more financial abundance or someone has more work success or someone has more success in their love life. If you're feeling that jealousy, then you are a snapshot of why you aren't receiving what they're receiving because that individual is most likely not jealous. That person who is moving ahead of what you think the expectations are and making you feel any way, the reason you feel that way is because you feel that way. You hold on to that vibration. So therefore, you're going to hold on to those experiences as well. And when it comes to raising your children, those of you out there who have kids, there's such an importance in celebrating each other's accomplishments and also making the other child aware that your accomplishments don't define you. They aren't what's going to depict your success. In Vibrational Architect's Handbook, I talk all about soul purpose, and soul purpose has nothing to do with your bank account. It has nothing to do even with what you choose to do. It's all in how you do it, in the energy you bring to it. And for parenting, that's really important because there's a lot of narrative out there around the order of birth and all these different psychological things that people try to label you with. And overcoming those labels is huge in order for you to expand and grow. Those labels were designed to keep you in a box. So if you are truly trying to take the power into your own hands and you're truly trying to be the one who advances your own capabilities, you have to let go of those labels because they will drown you and they will stop you from expanding. So, Evan, I really encourage you to understand why you want to downplay that news. You don't have to forcibly share it with people you know are going to secretly or outwardly not support you, but you have to be aware that it's them, not you. It's their problem. It's their issue for why they feel the way that they feel. And you can't save everybody. You can't uplift all of the people around you. You can only do the best for you. And you can only share the most positive frequency that you can yield within you. That's your goal. Okay, this next question comes from Harper in Sedona, Arizona. This one is huge, and I think we all experience this on a multitude of different levels. Harper writes, I finally got what I wanted, so why do I feel numb? It's because what you wanted was never what you were seeking. What you were seeking was the feeling you thought it would give you. And this happens so often. We think something or someone is going to give us a feeling that we're missing. And that's never going to happen. You are going to always be searching if you think that the outside will create a feeling of being at home or at peace within. We're again taught that that is the norm. That is what you want to achieve. The outer world is going to depict whether you're happy, but the truth is happiness lies within. It's an inside job. And finding that happiness within will make it so you don't yearn for things. Maybe you focus on things that you would love to experience, but you don't yearn for them to be happy. I work with so many people who refuse to be happy until they achieve what they are dreaming. And what they don't understand is that is sabotage. If you do that, you are going to prevent yourself from bringing towards you what you want, because you're never going to be a vibrational match. Someone or a frequency of something that is complete, it doesn't exist in a frequency of lack. Therefore, if you are in this mode of, I'm not going to be happy until I find it or until I get it, then you are never going to get it because the feeling of being happy eludes your frequency. It's not within you. So that search is going to continue. And it's going to be constantly left with emptiness. So how do you counteract that? Well, you start to look for happiness from within. You start to wake up in the morning and ask yourself, what do I need to feel like this day was worth living? And it can be simple and it can be indulgent. It can be, okay, I need to go grab a coffee this morning. I know I don't want to do caffeine, but I need to grab some coffee because I need to just sit there. And I love the way a coffee shop feels. And I love to smell the coffee. And I love to just watch the people. I need to just give myself that opportunity to just be. And I also want you to look at what you thought having that thing was going to make you feel. Was it going to make you feel complete? Was it going to make you feel happy? Was it going to make you feel peaceful? Was it going to make you feel secure? And then look at how you can build those emotions in your own life currently. So if what you're looking for is security, then ask yourself, what does it mean to feel secure? And this is going to be different for every single person out there. But these are great journaling techniques. What makes you feel secure? And then write the things that you currently have in your life that make you feel secure. And use that as a guide to focus your energy on being grateful for those things. Because if you're grateful for what you have, then that sends out into the vibrational energy around you that you are open to receiving more of it. And that's when you really begin to play with that architectural frequency vibe within you. You start to solicit that feeling based on what you already have. And when you do that, you align with receiving more. And in a way, you play the system, and the system brings you more and more frequencies that are like that your way. So that is why you don't feel that wholeness when you did get what you thought you wanted. It wasn't what you wanted physically, you wanted the feeling. And a feeling has to be brought up from inside. Outside can give you a temporary burst of a feeling, but really all it's doing is giving you a release of hormones that fake that feeling. The actual feeling is within you, and being able to isolate out what you were looking for and then look for where in your current life you have that already, and then give gratitude to those frequencies. That is going to find you the path to what you're looking for much faster than anything that you are trying to seek on the outer world. This next question comes from Riley. And Riley is asked to remain anonymous about her location. And the question is it normal to feel alive during chaos and then during calm, bored? This question, it all depends on focusing on which vibration that you're connecting with. So when someone feels alive during chaos, it can be one of two things. One could be they're addicted to the adrenaline. The other is they are feeling the present moment. Both of those are very different things to be experiencing. When you are addicted to the adrenaline or when you're addicted to the chaos, you're addicted to something. And like anything you're addicted to, over time, it will take you over. It will become what you obey. So, your objective when you have an addiction that you can isolate is to immediately recognize it and to start doing whatever is necessary in order to move away from that addiction, whatever you need to do to heal. And there's a lot of different things I talk about, and I'm not going to go into depth with those because they don't necessarily pertain to this question. But I want you to have a awareness of being able to discern to yourself, am I addicted to the chaos? Ways to know that. If you're addicted to the chaos, then you're seeking it. You're purposely creating circumstances in your life that are going to be traumatic. You are trying to start arguments with people so that you can have chaos come in. You are placing yourself in situations where you're going to have that adrenaline rush run through you. If that's the case, then you're working with an addiction, which means that you have learned a behavior so much it's taking over what your intentions are or what your most positive vibration is capable of achieving. It's one of the reasons why a lot of addictions are actually chemical addictions, because chemical addictions shift your brain chemistry. And when they do that, they can essentially take you over. They can become the way you think. They can stop you from your own free will. So if you're sensing that you're dealing with an addiction to an adrenaline release, then you need to handle it like any addiction is handled and going through the steps to work through and release that before it goes too far. However, if you find in the chaos you just get this peaceful clarity, then that is the feeling of the present moment. We live most of our life either in the future or in the past. And when we do that, we actually rob the present moment from the power that we have in it. When you think of yourself as a whole being and you think of yourself as a whole powerful energy frequency, and then you start parting frequencies off. So you part some frequencies off. Every time you think about the past, there's frequencies of you that go there. And then you part frequencies off to the future and you part frequencies there. Every time you do that and you part those frequencies off in different directions, you're taking energy out of the true you or the you in the moment and you're pulling it away. So you're weakening your frequency from within. When you weaken your frequency in the present moment, you essentially weaken your will to achieve the things you want to create because you aren't coming at it from your whole perspective. You aren't coming at it from a full soul viewpoint. It's important to be able to discern the difference between those two and then know how to proceed. If you find that you love that chaos because the present moment really brings you to a place where you feel peaceful, then you definitely want to incorporate more present moment type exercises in your life. And many of our ancients and many techniques are geared towards that present moment because that present moment and being in it is very powerful. It is you at your whole essence. So there's techniques to quiet your mind. There's techniques for you to go through breathing and different exercises to kind of drop in. There's techniques for you to go in different positions like yoga and things like that that open your meridian flow. There's actual mindfulness techniques. So there's a lot you can do to get more of that present moment energy without having the chaos be the catalyst of it. Next question is from Renee in Burlington, Vermont. And Renee asks, my parents never celebrated wins. How do I feel joy without guilt? Well, first, you've got to look at the known frequency understanding of you are a creator of the environment around you. So you're in charge. And we always want to blame our parents. We want to blame everybody but us. That's a victim mindset. I talk very deeply about this in Vibrational Architect's Handbook. I go through the reasons why people get stuck in that victim mode and just how horrible and difficult it is for you to thrive if you are going to feed that energy. You are highly controllable if someone convinces you you're a victim. So you want to really avoid that language at all costs. If you, in your life experience, chose to have parents that didn't celebrate wins, that was your lesson in life, something you needed to overcome. So I chat about soul purpose also in the book, and the soul purpose section talks about those moments that you feel were potentially negative, but you had to experience them early on in your youth. So if your parents didn't celebrate wins, they didn't celebrate those joyous moments, then they were teaching you that you need to look at this as you move forward in life. So you needed to make a conscious effort to, when you had a win and you did something that was joyful, that you celebrated it yourself. You had to break out of that mold. You had to learn what it was like to celebrate your own wins, because people also rely on others to decide if they really had a win. So they'll look at how many followers or how many people like something on their social media, or they will field something past their friends to see if their friends get excited or what their friends or their family's opinion is before they allow themselves to be excited. And that's putting someone else in charge of your manifestation. That's putting someone else in complete control of your creation. And none of us want that anymore. We're done with that era. So we're moving away from it. When you ask yourself and when you look at your ability to celebrate your wins, I want you to start understanding that, first of all, it was a lesson you needed, and learning to celebrate those wins has to be an important part of your growth here on this planet. So focusing in on when you do experience a win, celebrating it for yourself, recognizing it, having even a ritual that you go through that is sort of a self-love ritual that shows that you're proud of what you've accomplished. Those are going to be great techniques to break yourself out of that cycle, because that's what's necessary. When I see anybody start with my parents, then I know that the next thing they're going to talk about is going to be a deep rooted lesson that their soul is here to learn. And we've got to get them past this lesson so they can get their frequency higher. So remember, as you get your frequency higher and you shift into more positive emotions, then you're going to change your vibration. And that ultimately is going to make it so the things and the situations you bring towards you are at a higher vibration. So you're going to be generally happier with what you get in life. And that's how you architect your reality. It's that simple. You move through those old hurts so that you can make way for the new energy, or you make way for the energy that you always were to shine. So the first thing I would say for you, Renee, is to really focus on your wins, because there's an obvious lesson in there, and to have a ritual that you do that honors those wins. That's going to be how you break up that energy and you get out of that void. Okay, and my last question that I have time for in this podcast is from Devin from Athens, Georgia. And Devin asks, can joy be a practice, not just a feeling? This is a big question. Because in order for joy, number one, is an emotion. It's a frequency. So whenever I say frequency and vibration, I'm really boiling it down to your emotions, because your emotions are going to shift the way the frequency of your body flows. If you're happy, you're going to have a higher level of energy running through you. So if you connect yourself to a Hertz frequency counter, you would see if you're happy, there's a lot more higher frequencies generated from you. If you're sad or jealous or depressed or angry, it's going to be a lower frequency coming from you. So a question like, can joy be a practice, not just a feeling? The practice can bring you into a state of joy, but the actual action, void of emotion, is nothing more than a methodical, systematic approach. And that's not what you're looking for if you're looking for joy. Joy loves spontaneity. Joy loves the feeling of release, the feeling of connection. So when you are doing an action that may be void of any response internally, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Joy has to be the feeling behind it. And you can be joyful doing anything. You can be joyful going into work. Joy and where your energy resides and your emotions resides, they're 100% in your control at any given time. We've learned that we've got to break out of our norm in order to become joyful. And that's just because our norm was such a conditioned, such a forced, such a cultural control frequency that we learned everything that we're supposed to do, we have to step away from in order to find what we're supposed to be. And that shouldn't be the case. The two should be intertangled. The two should be constantly working in unison with one another. What you do should also be what you want to be. It should be bringing you towards who you want to become. And it doesn't have to be that you're doing a job that you love. Anything in your soul purpose has nothing to do with the action. It has to do with what you're bringing to it. So if you go to work and let's say you work construction and you hate it because you're going to be out in the hot or out in the cold and it's going to be very heavy on your body. If you look at, I'm creating something. I am with these individuals and we're putting something on this planet that other people are going to see for centuries. And you look at it as it's your creation and you're birthing something. That totally shifts the frequency of you. And that is where joy is found. Joy is not found in an activity. It's found in how you feel about your life. And we've become quite a joyless society. So I am working with all of you to move out of that so that we can all expand together. Because the higher the frequency we are, the higher the frequency on this planet is. And the more we get the opportunity to shift, and the more we get the ability to live together in a way that we would dream of and that we want it to be. So all of those things that you put out into the universe that you wish, they become your reality when your frequency heightens. Okay, everybody, that concludes this episode of Rewrite Reality with Jillian Greyse. Please follow this podcast and share it with anyone you believe can be helped by the knowledge that I'm sharing. We are in the middle of a huge collective shift, and the more people understand what it takes in order for them to move away from these narratives, the better we all are together. Thank you all so much, and I'll chat with you next week. You've just tuned into Rewrite Reality with Jillian Greyse, architect of energetic alignment and pioneer of integrated self-transformation. If this episode shifted your frequency, share it with someone you care about, because one share can spark healing, alignment, and a ripple effect of transformation in someone's life. Submit your questions today at jilliangrace.com/ask and explore transformational tools, masterclasses, and frequency-based healing at jilliangrace.com. Join me every week to elevate your vibration, rewrite your reality, and activate the life your soul remembers.